What up, everybody? It's Ponter here, and today we've got a special game, I suppose. It is a game that will definitely be tough to live down and has shaken the very bedrock of the World in Conflict Matchmode community. It was requested that I do this video specifically by Donald Duck, and who otherwise known as Donaldology. I don't fucking know. He's got a lot of Smurfs. He's the leader of Gold Clan, and we finally got in some proper match modes between Common Sense and Exile and Gold. And this is actually the second game of the day. So these were all played. This game is played the day after that kind of comeback win on Seaside that we saw in the previous week's video. This is now the second game of the match mode event, played on November 26th. And as you can see, there is some post-game coping being done already because they lost the first one. So we were playing on Seaside. It was a 4v4 with these exact teams, and we were on USSR, and it was a pretty boring game, so I'm not going to post that one. But just know that the official score of the match mode event so far is 1-0 CSiE to Gold. Now, just to talk about these teams, this isn't like pure gold. It's like 23 carats or something, or it's like 99% gold. But because Diamer is playing with them, just they don't have a full roster. No, we have a full roster, but I could talk about kind of the limitations of this team once I finish talking about their side. So Diamer is playing with them, and that's honestly, like, I don't think they have anybody as good as Diamer in Gold. I think, like, if they were to replace this guy with Parker, or maybe Posh and Elitist would be a good replacement, because then Donald could play armor and Clark could play support, and Posh could play infantry, because I think Posh is really the only infantry player other than Donald himself who could stand a chance against J-Man, or myself or Blitz. Like, I think we could outplay. We have enough infantry talent just in this team to outplay anybody on Gold other than Donald or Posh. So this is Gold plus a very good player. Just, I'm setting the stage, you know. Remember, like, I gotta cope a little bit here. And I think they lost that last game due to poor TA management, which is what I expect from these guys. Like, they really do not manage TA properly. And usually, like they basically dropped like 2 nukes on the exact same spot right at the last minute when they have already, and they were losing the flanks. It was a disaster. So, and they also lost that one with almost 6 minutes left. So it was 100% domination with five minutes and like 45 seconds left. So usually in a match mode or in like a clan war tournament, you would play both sides and then you kind of add up the dominant bar and the times to figure out who wins. But you have to play both sides just because it's out of fairness sake. You have to. And immediately, we're making a mistake here. What mistake am I making? I'm overextending this tank. Small Island is not following up. And I lose to these. Even though he had his scout removed, I lose my first tank to air. And that's kind of a really big giveaway on my part. And I don't really learn my mistake. So watch this tank. It's going to also overextend in a moment. In the meantime, my second spawn is over here. And so yeah, look, I get dived. And I take a ton of damage. But they do lose. Their air player gets wiped, which is kind of nice for us. But we're not stopping them in town here. We get the Kappa Beach, which is great. This is a good. Just keep an eye on this, and nice denial by J-Man. So everything is still going according to plan so far, but this is the first of many. Like, that's a very lucky cluster that he like, I'm not even on the point and I get hit by that, but whatever. Like, that's a good cluster. Kind of a smart use of TA, preventing us from really locking down the beach. And Donald has got the inf forward into these awesome, like, these are strong buildings, so they're really hard to kill. And, you know, Small Island's not microing it. Like, he should be tucking behind here. There he goes. And, oh, they just get the cap. Because I've lost all my tanks. Like, I have one tank on the field right now. And, you know, I have to switch my spawn and start like, at least I switch my spawn. Like, I would typically, like, usually I mistakenly spawn at the beach again. Just classic. And if you notice, we do outdrop them. Like, I do 3 drop. Okay. So they do kind of get 3 rounds. So we're even on the drops. They do get a nice cap of town. And here's another mistake of mine. Like, I'm blobbing in the fucking fire lane with all my tanks. Literally, I put all my tanks. Like, I'm like dragging tanks from across the map. I'm putting them all in this fire line. And I'm smoking them, and I'm not moving them. They can see I'm there because of the inf. And I get killed by a Clark tank buster. Like, everything dies. So it's not looking good for the Ponter bros. The armor is wiped. Like, I'm completely wiped. And, like, you know, AA is pushing forward here and here. Like, I should have just pulled back and kept the tank in this fire lane. Because, like, look, they're dominating the fire lanes right now, even though their tanks are beat to shit. And surprisingly, Clark is a pretty, like, he's actually putting, other than this AA, like, these AAs are in a pretty much correct position. And also notice that J-Man has been denied this critical area of town. Like, we've got a sniper in here. I think there's a sniper in here as well. And any kind of built forward inf is just getting wiped by air. And yeah, Clark is missing a Jeep. And also, like, this is an interesting, like, so Diarmor is the armor player. And Clark is the support player. Just want everybody to notice that. And Diarmor is getting a medium attack helicopter, which is kind of dubious in my books. Now, this Daisy Cutter should have made our life in town a lot easier. But there's so much inf that's already forward that we're not dealing with. And unluckily, it doesn't kill the critical sniper building. Oh, it's so frustrating. Like, if it's just a hair forward. And look, another cluster that wipes us out at beach. And I had sent 2 light tanks there. Now, to be fair, like, I didn't know that there was going to be a fuel air bomb here. So I never... If I knew that, I would have sent those lights into town. But we do manage to get the cap. The ever so important cap of town. But we get immediately cleaned up. Like, we have no staying power here. We don't have enough AA. Because Small Island is having just as bad a game as me. And he's getting wiped. So I think what we lacked here was communication. Like, look, they're going to recap immediately. We have no way to deny that. Like, we get cleaned up by air. The air is not there to defend. And we're both look at this simultaneous gassing. Like, I see them gas, and then J-Man also gasses. Now, I have enough TA. If I knew we were going to do a gas, I would have dropped a heavy arty right here. I really fucked them up. But, again, J-Man actually has, like, a horrible disease. Like, he was, like, had the flu or something. He could barely talk. That's another cope. But he could kind of talk at this point. It got really bad throughout the match modes, though. And I think he might have had to go to the hospital or some shit. At least see a doctor. That's another cope. It's an important... Like, these guys definitely have no comms at all. So, again, that's not a cope that I can really effectively make. Like, we just... But notice how tight these are. And look, another clutch. Like, the air doesn't even have to go in. The threat of the air makes me smoke and stay in the smoke. And then the armor just rips us apart with these tank busters. So again, it's a discrete use of TA. They're not saving, like, even though a nuke is a minute away, they're using TA discreetly to destroy specific units and to allow caps. And, like, Donald Duck has not been eliminated from these two building clusters. He's just been there the entire game, and he can just easily cap every time. Compare that to us. Like, we don't have any infantry in these forward buildings because, like, naturally we blew them all up. But we can have no recourse to doing those quick, dirty inf caps. So, like, we're not in these buildings, and, like, we're just not anywhere. Like, it's a really weak inf position. And I can't really begrudge, like, J-Man is getting pressure by their air. Like, we never got the armor and support in there to help him, so he was just kind of all alone, and he's getting TA dropped on him and stuff. And we've just not generated enough TA to saturate this place with drops. Like, look, I have no drops on the field now. I just keep dying. And we have... J-Man has done a round of drops up over here, but they're immediately countered by Donald. He gets them down first, which is an advantage, but it's not enough. And we're... You know, again, we don't have enough TA to completely reliably clear this. So we're dying. We're getting bled out on the ticks. They're pressuring Beach now, and like if we lose Beach, it's not gonna look good. And yeah, and MXB is just diving, diving small island. Can't really manage him. And again, like air is really difficult in support is really difficult in 4v4s if the air gets out of control. And like MXB isn't really even an elite air player. Like he's no good player, but he knows enough to like dive when. But I think small island just like support's not his main role. So like we're kind of asking him to off roll. Like we're desperate for Wally, or like anybody else. Like again, this is not the perfect CSiE team. That's my cope. So meanwhile, J-Man's chopping it up here. He's doing okay. I would have loved to support. There's yet another cluster that's killing critical tanks. And yeah, like I'm trying to we're trying to make something happen in town, but we have no TA to support this, and very little support to support this either. Like again, I'm trying to ram tanks in there, and this is what we do. That's where our TA's been going. J-Man decides to nuke. And I think, like, hindsight's 2020. I think we'll take a look. Like, this is a good nuke. Like, it kills some snipers. It kills all these drops. Kills a lot of support and whatnot. I'm thinking, like, what if we had done drops here? Would that have had so much, would that have made a big difference? But... yeah, here's their heavy air support, and this is another botched me. Like, I'm not sure exactly where it is, and it's right there, and we drive right into it. Oh my god. That sucks, man. Like, we saw that coming. Like, we should have stopped. I thought it was, like, behind it a little bit more, or, like, I wasn't sure where it was, and that cost us. Like, that cost us a lot of units that we really desperately needed. We're still going to get the cap. And, yeah, the situation, like... I think Blitz, it would have been helpful, and see another lucky tank, but maybe Blitz should have gone and helped clear this up, or maybe I should have spent some TA to help clear this up. We do manage to get this cap, and instead of clearing this, what I'm going to do is put a heavy air support down, and this is just going to be a complete whiff. Like that could have been 3 paras, could have been a lot of things. It's going to be a whiff on... like, the armor's just gonna get out of it just fine. Like, I should have maybe spread it out a little bit better. Like, we didn't even sucker the air into it. And yeah, here, like, J-Man is desperately doing... like, if I had clustered and done, like, tank drops or something, maybe we could have distracted MXB. But, like, or done tank drops over here, for instance. And so I could have sent... because now notice there's no tanks in the town. Or I could have dropped tanks over here and helped clear these guys up. Just lots of different options than that heavy air support whiff. But it's not all bad. Like, we're forwarding uptown. I just know that there's going to be a nuke very soon out of their team because... and look, this guy's still fucking alive. Oh my god. Yeah, and there's the nuke, I think. And yeah, we finally clear this up. And like, this is what we have to do. We have to get out of town ASAP, because nukes are going to be flying soon, and if we have some sort of lead, and like J-Man has complete dominance over the research at this point, which is amazing. But we really need... so yeah, there's the nuke. I'm telling Small Island to move the jeeps, hide. Doesn't move the jeeps. He does. These guys do survive. And again, like the gas tank is empty for us. Like, we have no... I have no TA. I don't know how much TA J-Man has. Like, J-Man's been pumping drops here. But they have a ton of units, and they're going to get an easy cap of town. I'm trying to work on beach. And the situation, like now MXB is just cleaning up J-Man, and we have no recourse to help him there. And he's getting napalms. These are dubious napalms. Like, I question these quite a lot. But they hold town, and like they got, even though we had that little bit of a comeback, like that is a fake comeback because they had generated so much TA capping town over and over again, and they hadn't really wasted it on any, like, you didn't see any carpets, not a lot of dumb stuff has been spent. And you know, we're spread thin, like we can maybe, like, I'm never getting the support I need in town. Like, I decap desperately, but they're gonna easily recap that. Donald has like transitioned to APC spamming, which I guess kind of works once the map gets nuked enough. But yeah, it's not looking good in the town. I mean, we do manage to take beach, and J-Man is still chopping it up effectively at research. And again, like, I wish I had some TA to kill it, but like, we have no jeeps. Look, we have still no jeeps. Got killed by that nuke. And I think, honestly, like, the way Wally plays support on this map is he just does heavy anti-air, and maybe a rep tank. But he doesn't mess around with the medium anti-air vehicles, which might be a good idea on this map. I don't know.
You can order reinforcements now.
Like, and you kind of need, like, we need a rep tank desperately here. Donald's doing off-roll medium tanks. That's dubious, honestly. And it would have been nice, again, to have some TA to do drops over here. Or I should have maybe spawned, like, I'm desperately trying to take the beach. I maybe should have spawned over here and just chucked some light tanks. That might have helped a lot. Like, we really have, in 4v4s, you have to stretch out the air player. It's really hard on this map. That's why support really struggles on this map, because the air player, it's small. Air player can get around pretty quickly. Like, everywhere you need to be, you can be there pretty quick as an air player. See, like, look, like, I'm trying to push into town, and he's right there waiting for me. And then he decides, okay, beach we can actually take, so I'm just going to kill him. Smile Island only has one AA, and, like, they kill our ground forces, and this AA is useless now. Like, it's over there. And, like, we have all our AA at the beach side, nothing in town, nothing at research, and we start getting spawn raped. And this is when you know it's over. Like, when you're starting to throw down air to air, like these really dubious air to airs. And look, like, I don't even see him coming anymore. Like, we have no infant town anymore. Like, J-Man's completely focused on this because, like, but there's still nice buildings around here. But he was just getting banged on by air as soon as he gets into these buildings, he's just getting eliminated. And yeah, like, no support for my poor tanks, and we're getting decapped over here. I will say this is another cope. Like, if this was a proper match, like, tournament game, let's say, the fact that we haven't been defeated yet, if it's a best of 2, let's say, you play both sides of the map because the map is asymmetric. It really comes down to Donbar and time. We still win. That's my cope. And I would also say, like, get your own support player and don't rely on Diarmor. And Diarmor's actually playing armor. Like, he's outplaying me on armor, pretty successfully, I'd say. Like, TA usage and positioning. I mean, this is maybe if I had a medium banging on MXB, his life would be a lot easier, and Small Island could have maybe succeeded. I don't know. But it's tough. But I think what really happened was they had very good discrete TA usage, and this snowballed. It just snowballed out of control, and we weren't able to follow up on that nuke fully and put them away. Like, I think if we they could recovered very well to our nuke, and then their nuke really just wiped us out. Like, they got the jeeps. And look, okay, that's our TA. Yeah, like, I should have dropped the TA there. And we never really helped J-Man out. Oh, yeah, and that's like the coffin, or the nail in the coffin right there. We never helped J-Man out at research, and we were never able to capture it very well and like, distract them enough. Like, they managed just to hold on to the flanks, and then, of course, they held on to the middle. And this is, like, Blitz has a very rough connection, especially early on in the match modes. So that wasn't a rage quit. Like, he was still in the VC with us. He was like, what the fuck, I just dropped. Autis comes in. But it's too late. So we'll just play us out. We'll see, do we last the full time? Because time does matter. Oh, we don't. So it was 100%. So yeah, that's a CSiE loss. Was it a good game? Yeah, it's a good game. I think this show, like, these are all players with experience in match modes, and you know they're gonna take they can take games off of this. Like, this CSiE team is not invincible in any respects, and I'm glad that, like, it shows that these players, you know, you throw them together, they can take wins. So yeah, that's a GG to gold. But this series is not over yet. I'm gonna do at least 2 more. I might do them all in one video. But if this is like Empire Strikes Back, you know, it's the middle of the trilogy, you know, you gotta stay till the end to really know how the story unfolds. So yeah, that's stay tuned for that. That'll be next week, that one. But for now, take care, guys, and yeah, GG gold.